Yo, what's up guys? I'm Rago.
I'm Lucas.
And we're just gonna finish up our reviews here, moving on to the wing foiling.
Foiling. Every foil sport we can do, right?
Yes.
So Cabrinha does make a huge range of foils, as you've seen in previous videos. We got wing foils. It's also a little bit different in kiting. You want a bit more lift. It's a slightly different sport. You're riding different boards. So again, it kind of swaps your front wings and it changes it changes the purpose. You're riding a different setup.
Yeah.
So the only foil that I would say crosses over in our range, unless you're very talented and you're plenty of power, you can ride the smaller wings. But the one foil that's kind of an all-arounder is this Special 1300. I won't talk about it too much because we talked about it in previous videos. This is a bit small for the wingers, more for the experienced guys riding bigger swell, a bit more wind too. There's a little bit less lift on these smaller wings, so you can ride these. This could be your all-arounder, but
for kite and for wing.
Exactly, kite and wing. You get quite a lot of lift in kiting, a little less in winging. It's a bit of a hybrid setup.
Maybe
what I would recommend. Yep. Sorry?
I was saying maybe like a super lightweight winger as well, like a 100-pound person,
yeah,
or like your girlfriend or something maybe.
Exactly, girlfriends could be good on that. Kids, people that are lighter, anyone really. It could be kind of your wing setup. For me personally, I'm 175. It's a bit on the smaller side for me. It needs to be pretty windy before I have fun on this.
So your average Joe could kite with it and then pop their kids on it for a wing.
Exactly. I bring this one on every trip because you can only bring one foil in a board bag, and
yeah, I
can wing, kite on it, everything I need, right? So, and then moving on down the line, we got the 1600 here. 1600's kind of our bigger, or all around, I'd say wing foil foil, right? This has the perfect amount of lift to go just a great speed. You could surf swell with this, you could pump easily with it. It's a great all-arounder for winging. It's quite stable and it'll pop out of the water quite quick.
Which I guess on wing foiling too, that's kind of a cool point to bring up. I mean, people are always like looking for like a light wing foil, but we now kind of know that it's not necessarily a light wind sport by any means. But I mean, when you say like you don't need a lot of speed, what are we talking here for? Like, what would you say you're going like on your wing when you're pumping?
Probably like, my estimate, probably 7 miles an hour, 17 miles an hour.
Don't quote him on that, but maybe he's from Canada as well, so
I do work in kilometers.
Yeah.
But you know, if I'm wake foiling behind the boat can be cruising 8 and I'm up and riding. That's why I know it's around that range.
Okay. And I think we mentioned 11 as well in another video, which is kind of the standard, but it does make sense you can get something this big up around 8 miles per hour.
Yeah, so the thing is the leading edge is a bit longer. There's a bit of volume to it.
Pretty reasonably chunky wing as well,
yeah.
Which I'm not quite sure what that translates to as lift, right?
It translates to lift, exactly. So there's two things that translates to lift. It's the leading edge, how wide it is.
Yep.
These high aspect foils now are lifting a lot, and also the volume of it that's slightly thicker makes it pop out pretty quick. So again, yeah, this is the built-in fuselage, a very solid foil. And then we move down the 1950, I should say. This is the big
dog.
So the big dog is good for learning, very good. I wouldn't limit it just to learning as well. Great for pumping, great for lighter conditions again, because it's bigger. You're gonna get more lift out of this one. So on those lighter wind days, especially if you're teaching someone, this one just loves to pop out of the water. And again, if you're dock starting, if you're, it's just a very slow speed foil. Now, if you're gonna be riding pumping swells, it might not be ideal, but if the swell is, small little river swells, you're still gonna be cruising pretty fun on this. And it's so wide, but it's very stable. That's a pro one. I like that. But I ride the 1600. It's kind of perfect for my weight. It's a good all around with a low speed. I can still push it quite fast on the wing. And then I also pair it up with the small tail wing. So you got 2 tail wings option as well for winging. Again, learning, easy setup. You want to put the big one on. It's going to make things very stable and very easy to control. This, by no means is it hard to control, but it's a bit more playful, a bit more loose. So if you're carving through waves, if you're having fun pumping, be a bit more loose on the tail, right? Yep. It kind of comes from, I could kind of translate it to skating. You want a looser feel to your board, right? This will kind of...
And that might be useful too. So I'm starting to rack my brain, and I've been doing a lot of foil content with a lot of other experts who know quite a bit more than myself. I'm noticing these are actually reasonably high aspect. I mean, I wouldn't say they're maybe the highest aspect, but looking at the range and the shape, would you classify these as high aspect wings? They're like in the middle, but
they're in
not,
the middle. They're not quite high aspect.
I wouldn't say they're low aspect either, though.
No, they're a modern shape. That's what I would call it.
Yeah,
There's like,
kind of, because at first I was like, oh, we've got a low aspect and a high aspect, and I was like, well, no, those are both kind of, that actually is kind of unique.
Yeah, they kind of go incremental up all the way down to 950 on the smaller one.
So here's a hard question. You're going to actually do my job in this video. Here's a hard question for you, because we now know that like the higher aspect, more efficiency, more pumping. The lower aspect, you get more of a surf-like feel, kind of more play, a little more groove to it. Where would you put this in terms of feel? Let's say the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the high aspect, locked in, super pump, 1 being loosey-goosey on the wave.
I'd say probably right down the middle, honestly. Like
a 5, 6?
Yeah, like a 5, 6 range, because you still have a carvy feel to it.
Yep.
Because it does have a little bit more of a lower aspect look than a high. Like it's a little bit longer through here. So you still have that slow, cruisy, turny foil, which is not super locked in like a high aspect. Just makes sense, right? The wider your wingspan, the less likely it is to turn in the water, right? So, good point, Rago. I mean, this is a mid-range foil.
So I guess that's kind of a cool way to look at it. So you would call it a mid-range shape?
Yeah, it's quite modern in terms of these days, where we're heading in the market. And it's very...
Should have caught that in an earlier video as well, but
we got it here now.
Huh? We're here now, yes.
And then lastly, winging, a lot of preferences again. It doesn't matter what you choose. Depending on your home spot, the depth of the water, you might want to choose a shorter mast. It's easier, friendlier, better for shallower water. 80 centimeters kind of my go-to all around. Again, easier to pump. Get quite a bit of distance for error, I would call it. You can go up and down easier. Towards a shorter one might be you got to be more precise with your pumping.
Yep.
So again, some people choose the 90, some people choose carbon 80. It's really depending on what you want to do and where you're riding in the world.
And with winging, what would you say might be the more versatile for that sport?
It's between the 70 and the 80.
Is it?
Yeah. Some of the more experienced guys go to the 90 and the longer wings and the longer masts. I mean, sorry. But for learning, it kind of goes back to the same as kiting and surfing. If you have a long mast, you have way more play, and it kind of gets wobbly at the top. And then when you go over the nose, there's more consequences, right?
Yep.
So when you're riding a shorter mast, it does simplify the whole process a little bit. And that's kind of why I choose the 80, because it's the perfect size for depth of water. It's a perfect size to get plenty of wave space, so you can surf a decent sized wave, get through waves easier. If your mast is super short, sometimes it's hard to cut through waves because your board and your mast keep hitting the water, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, I know that feeling. As a new winger, I know that feeling really well, actually.
Taking off, I definitely recommend it. I'm a kiter. I thought it was silly. Kind of, you know, just looking at it when it first came out. I'm here in Hood River. I've been here for 6-7 days, and I've only had 1 kite session and winged a handful of times, maybe 6, 7.
There's a place for it. Yeah, I mean, the wind here, if you don't know Hood River, we've had days that are like legitimately 9 to 27.
And those days,
like pretty hectic.
Somehow smooth on the wing. You don't feel it as much, and the river swell here is cool because you get the current, but the waves.
It's actually
a
super
special spot.
Special spot, yeah.
And
surfing a river, it's amazing.
I'm not gonna shoot down kiting because at home I would still prefer kiting because of the conditions, right? But this spot here is pretty special for winging.
I think we could probably both classify ourselves as a little more kiters than wingers at this point. You're
100%.
You're crossing over. I don't know though.
They've been making fun of me this week, but I'll be on a kite. Don't worry.
But I can't kite on your level, so I can't really talk.
Kites are not for sale yet.
Dude, hey man, I appreciate it. I hope you guys found this useful. If you did, let us know in the comments. If you got any questions, ask Tucker, give the shop a call. And if you found the video helpful, thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you later.
Cheers, guys.